Hello, everybody, and welcome to my Patreon page. I'm Tracy Mahan, and I am here today with Charity, and she has got a beautiful story of energy work to share with us today. So, hello and welcome, Charity. How are
Hello.
you?
I'm pretty good. I have no complaints. So it's
That's
a
why
good
we
day.
like it.
That's right.
So, I cut you off because you were telling me this beautiful story, and I decided, hey, this seems like the perfect thing for today's little face-to-face episode. So, I'm going to let you start over and kind of give the background or what leads up to this story if you want. I'll give
Sure.
the story over to you. Here you go.
Oh, sure. Okay. Well, um, we have a pretty big family, and she's actually my dad's first cousin, but she was well, her daughter's just like a couple years older than me, if that gives you any kind of, you know,
And you're like 25.
yeah, exactly. Um, but she went to the doctor. She had been having a lot of pain and not feeling well, and she went to the doctor and she was diagnosed with, she had two brain tumors and she has cancer on her spine. And so she had surgery to have the tumors removed from her brain, because they told her that if she didn't, then I think that she would have 2 to 4 weeks to live. So
Wow.
she did that. And then, so now at this point, I mean, if you can imagine having that laid on you, because even the diagnosis with the surgery and with cancer treatment would be maybe, 2 to 4 months or 4 to 6. So she had the tumors removed, but she has elected not to have um, medical treatment from what we know as conventional medicine.
Yeah.
So I offered Reiki, and they actually took me up on it. And when I went to do Reiki, now I've never, to my knowledge, performed Reiki on anyone with cancer, but I can tell you that there was a noticeable difference with her, because it felt like there were animals or something. There was a war going on underneath of her skin, because I really concentrated on her spine the
Mm-hmm.
first couple of times that I did it. um, but the Reiki helped her, especially when I got to her head. It made her feel very secure, and it calmed her quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I'd done this for 3 or 4 days in a row, and in the process of doing this, her daughter was there, and who is her main caretaker, um, and also very busy. And she's got a lot, obviously, going on as well. I mean, she has 3 kids. 2 of them are still at home. She
Mm.
has a new grandbaby, and then she's also trying to make a living and take care of her mother. And so, in doing the Reiki with her mother, and when she would rest, I would have time to talk to her daughter afterwards. And we are so beautifully aligned that she is now in class to become a Reiki practitioner. And she's an RN, but the beautiful thing of this is that it is this holistic or alternative approach is something that she believes is for her. And I feel like that I was led there. I was led
Yeah.
to show them this form of care and treatment, I guess. When you're, I have to say that this far, the time that I've been able to share with them has been, it's been a beautiful experience. I mean, it
Yeah.
really is. This is the most peaceful end of life experience that I've ever witnessed in my entire life. And I notice a change in myself, because I'm not a blubbering mess going from one extreme to another. So I think that shows my own growth, um,
Yeah, very much.
you know, at least since 2012 or something along those lines. But what is even more miraculous is that this woman is psychically on point.
Mm.
I mean, she's telling us things that her daughter and I have spoke about in private, neither mentioned to her. And from the beginning, from the first day that I went to do Reiki with her, she looked at me and said, "It's you too," and she was talking about me and her daughter.
Wow.
So another interesting fact about this is that last night I was there because she was having a bad day. And while we were outside, she went inside to lay down, and we were coming in to do a Reiki session with her. And we were talking, and I was telling her kind of how when I do a session with her, the area that I'm working on, I see all that light, and like her spine, for instance, I see her, and this is what I told her daughter, I see her spine every time get brighter and brighter with white light. It's completely illuminated. I see it glowing in there. It wasn't 5 minutes later, her mom walked outside and said, "I just got a really sharp pain in my back, and then it stopped and relaxed. Are you guys already doing that?"
It's all about the intention, isn't it? That's so
It
beautiful. Wow.
it really is. And you know, weeks before, well, not weeks before, but days before, and then right after I started, I had to stop and ask myself, what outcome do you think you're going to have with
Mhm.
doing this? And it's not that we can cure her, although I don't rule that out. I don't rule out a miracle.
Right.
I, because there have been so many since I joined this process with them,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
it's
and that might be the full purpose of it is maybe it's not meant to save her from transitioning, but to give her experiences of faith and spirit and her own spirituality
well,
while
I
she's
think
still
it's
present in the body.
exactly. I think it is for healing, but and it may not be a physical healing, but it's
Right.
definitely an emotional, and a mental, and a spiritual one.
Yeah. And sometimes we forget that. It's like we're so attached to the body that when we're asking or calling in for a healing, we might be thinking that healing comes in a physical form. But just like you're saying, maybe that healing is on a spiritual level. Maybe it's on that auric level. And the physical body is getting relief, but maybe it was not meant to cure the physical body. Maybe this is her exit point, and it's just about making that healing on higher levels, higher vibrations.
Right.
So, but again, a miracle could happen. Come in, that light breaks up that cancer, and away it
Absolutely.
goes. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I have to say that whenever I found out that she was not going to take the conventional treatment, chemotherapy and radiation, I was happy. And
Yeah.
because I feel like personally that healing can begin right now. And
Yeah.
it goes back to what you said. It's about the intention and about the mindset. And last night when I was there, she handed me a paper, and someone had given her, and it was like an herbs or something that had been used to treat it or to combat cancer. And at the bottom it said 10/21/2017. Want to order ... I'm no quitter.
Really.
Yeah.
Chills.
And she showed that to me, and I said, high five, and we high fived.
Yeah. Yeah. Lots of alternative treatments out there, so keep exploring.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the fact that I've been brought into this, and I have went with the flow, with it. I haven't resisted. I haven't tried to back out because it's sad or it's upsetting. I've actually been propelled and moved to anytime I get a phone call and they need me, I just go. And by doing that, it has just been just completely smooth and fluid, and things
Mm.
up as they should.
Wow. Beautiful story. That's that's when, and we're at the point where we don't have the entire outcome yet, but what an amazing start to the process and the healing and having her be so open to the experience. And that's a blessing in itself. So,
Absolutely. I agree 100%. Now, The other thing that I wanted to tell you that I was gonna run past you is, now, not this past spring, okay, but the spring of 2016. I entered a period where I started in the spring. Started seeing a snake. Okay,
Mm.
and after that, I would see snakes everywhere. I would see snakes in my dreams. And just, I mean, and this has went on since the spring of 2016. And again, I've seen them when it started again. I've had dreams about them. I was at work one day with a friend of mine who she and I were the only ones there. And I had gotten to know her a little bit and know that she's a spiritual person as well. So as we're leaving the office that night, we're walking out. I open the door. I walk out. I look down. There's a snake. And I kind of high stepped it to get to the sidewalk. I hear her scream, and the snake came in the office. And so we were there for 2 hours trying to get the snake out.
Oh my gosh.
And finally we did. But, I told her that day, I said, I think that, or the next day maybe, I feel like this incident with the snake is more profound than what we know and what we can see on the surface.
Yeah.
So time after that went on, and I was still seeing snakes. But just about 2 weeks ago, I was going to mow the lawn, and in my front yard, there was a full snake skin.
Oh, somebody shed the snake, or the snake shed the skin. That's what I want to say. So we know what snake is, right?
Well, snake's the healer.
Snake is also Kundalini power. And so you're coming into your power.
Well, that's
what I grabbed was Betty Bethard's dream book, because it has snake symbols in it, and then there's also, you can look up power animals. But since we're looking at some symbology, I just kind of want to read through this and see if any of this resonates.
Yeah.
The Kundalini is housed in the base of the spine. You're working on your friend's spine, your cousin's spine. It moves up the spine column, awakening the chakras or energy centers. The snake didn't bite. Okay, people often dream of snakes entering their body, which is the awakening of this energy. Snakes are a powerful symbol, never to be feared. Snakes represent awakening or continuance of spiritual growth. You may want, and I know we're still recording this, this is how I chat with my friends. So when you're doing Reiki, next time I want you to bring that snake in from the base and bring it up the spine. Bring it up her spine and see it just dissolving that cancer. And see, because you're right, that's coming to you for a reason. And the fact that the snake is dealing with the spine, and so are you right now.
Right.
Too coincidental. There's too much synchronicity going on there. So
there really is. And
yeah.
this is, and again, I mean, and another beautiful aspect of this is her daughter, the relationship, the bond that we're sharing, and just being able to see, like, I gave her first Reiki treatment, and when we were finished, with tears in her eyes, she said, "This is the best I have ever felt in my life."
Wow.
So it's been pretty powerful, but what's beautiful about her, I mean, of course, the brain surgery has changed her mom. But she's not mourning that loss. She is completely experiencing her as she is. And
wow.
It's just been the most beautiful experience ever. It's very open. It's very honest. It's, I don't know how else to explain it. It's like there are no secrets, but, there are there's no tiptoeing around death.
No. And death is just a rebirth into a new reality.
But during this period, she did mention that she died and was pulled back.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something powerful going on there.
There's something very powerful. And I feel it. I feel it, and I mean, even when I walk in, it's just it is beyond explanation for me, really.
Yeah.
There are no words that can truly describe some feelings.
Wow. Wow. Do you work with the crystals around any of that?
I do work with crystals, and I haven't done anything with that.
Hmm. Well, you might be pulled to do that because I was just seeing crystals in my head while you were talking.
Well, it's interesting. Last night I came home. I was over there and I came home to get the sage because I felt like we really just needed to kind of cleanse that house.
Yeah.
And when I came home, I opened up my Reiki prayer box. For what reason, I don't know. I can't tell you. And I opened it up and I found a little quartz crystal about that big.
Woo.
And so I took that with me.
Yeah.
I went back.
Very nice.
But definitely maybe something.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe something to sit with and ask, do I need to bring anything with me today? And see what comes in.
Yeah.
If we were closer, I have a couple of wands here that are used for cutting cords and different things. And I think I've shown you guys this one before. I left that one and just cut away the
Nice.
energy and stuff. Maybe you can just imagine in your mind you're holding my wand because I give you permission. And you can use that in your mind's eye to cut any cords that need to be cut. But that is a beautiful piece there. Whenever I hold it, I can feel the power of that one. So
Yeah.
Wonderful though. Let's talk a little bit. You know, we just talked about using energy work, and just in case somebody's listening to this video that hasn't experienced energy work or Reiki, where did you go, my darling?
Sorry.
Don't move. No, I'm just kidding. But let's talk about Reiki for a little bit. You know, Reiki comes with attunements. I'll let you share your experience with Reiki. It's been so long since I studied the history of Reiki, like so many years, that you may have the history of Reiki down a little bit more than I do. But for me, energy work is about intention. And I went through and I got Reiki 1, 2, and 3, and I use Reiki, but I found that over the years of me using Reiki, that Spirit has incorporated some other things with it. And so when I do energy work on people, it's kind of a mixed bag of that Reiki energy. Reiki uses symbols that you can draw in your mind or in the air above the person. You bring those symbols and the energy in. You are the vehicle for the healing energy to come in.
Right.
And then, but yeah, I've in the years that I've been doing this, it's been you know, it's just new information would keep coming in for me, and so I would use different things. And I find that even like if I'm working, the other day I sat down and I put my hands on my client's head, and right away it was like tuning into some radio frequency or something, and this energy came in that wanted to communicate with her. And as soon as I left the head, it was like turning the station.
Yeah.
So it's like it's always something different and something exciting and new. So I guess what I want to say is to the audience, if you haven't had energy work done before, I highly recommend you find somebody in your area that does energy work and give it a try. It's an amazing experience. You know, somebody asked me if I want to get on the table. You know, I've got my tennis shoes on and I'm running. So it's like, yes, I love to be on the table. And for me, being the facilitator or the receiver, either way, you get something from doing the energy exchange. So,
well, you know what was really interesting because her daughter is becoming a practitioner, you know, it's she can practice as long as her participant is willing. So I said, you know, I think that maybe we should do this together.
yeah.
And so we did. And what was so, I thought, very interesting is that her mother said, okay, we breathe in together and we breathe out together. She knows nothing of what it is. What Reiki?
Wow. That's powerful. Breath is so big.
It is. And the fact that she had never heard of Reiki until I, you know, mentioned it.
Yeah.
Was just, or at least to my knowledge, but that, even if somebody had heard of Reiki and knew what it was, unless they have like studied it a little bit, I think, or at least taken a class, you don't know the emphasis on the breath.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and it's things like that really, it adds to the wonderment of it all. And I think from my experience, and I really think that you'll agree with Reiki, and what takes that to the next level, and it's your intention.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, hand placement, sure, that's important, but the energy is going to go where it needs to go.
Exactly.
Regardless.
Exactly. Yeah. It does. Yeah. You could be working on the crown chakra, and they might be getting energy sent to the root chakra. You never know. It just goes where it needs to, and you just trust. And it's a beautiful work. When I was a kid, I grew up Catholic, and my great aunt and uncle lived next door to us, and my great aunt would do hands-on healing. And I remember my sister was experiencing a lot of pain in one of her legs, and it was probably severe growing pains, but at the time, if I remember right, because I was younger, so I'm trying to remember how that story goes. I'm not sure if they thought it could be polio, and so it was scary, and she runs her over to my great aunt and uncle's house. And I remember they cleared off the kitchen table, they laid her on the table, and she started doing hands-on and speaking in tongue and calling in all this energy, and watching that. I know that was part of my experience, so that one day I would step into it, because I was just fascinated by it. And the pain went away, and my sister was fine. And it was just an amazing thing to watch that experience. And that's something else we should talk about on another time, is speaking in tongues or languages that come through. And when you're doing energy work, it can be just as powerful.
You know what? I agree 100%. I think that anything, I think anything is possible. Again, it goes back to that intention, but what is so incredible is seeing it. It's, believing it's there, you actually can see it is pretty amazing.
It is very amazing. Well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up as far as the video goes. And thank you so much for sharing that beautiful story and the energy work. It is one of those things that I hope that we get to share more and more of as I develop this Patreon page and bring in some of these videos where we talk about these experiences. Because
absolutely. And I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, we'll bring you back on and see how things are going.
Yes, perfect.
All right. Well, at this point, I'm going to end the video, but you stay right there, Charity. Okay. You and I have more to talk about. Okay, bye, everybody.
Thanks, Tracy.
We'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.